Hi, good morning. It's Gene from maverickstar Observatory. I really don't know what to do next, guys. Is the response? We're looking at the problem, reaction, solution, and I was thinking to myself earlier, I can't help thinking that all this is just something at play to pawn us all off. These people who run the show, the circus, are just pawning us all off. This problem started in Wuhan. If you look into things, you'll find out that American funding had gone into that. I'm not blaming the American people, I'm blaming these crazies that have a lot of money, like Bill Gates, and I guess they get bored with the amount of money that they have, and they feel like self-proclaimed emperors. They can manipulate things, and all of a sudden he goes from being this great guy who invented something really good, and then making a lot of money, and then ending up in the field of eugenics, trying to control the population rate through means of vaccines and contraception and etc. etc. So there's a complete circle here. We know that America offshored the development of COVID-19 to Wuhan laboratories. It escaped from Wuhan laboratories and spread as it has. We know that there's been a lot of exaggeration with the amounts of people that have died as a result of COVID-19, and the solution was this company in Germany, which is owned by Americans. The Pfizer vaccine is what I'm talking about. Is owned, the company in Germany is owned by Americans. So it started out in America, went to China, went to Germany, and come back to America. A problem, reaction, solution. And I have to say this, I could be completely wrong, and I'm talking openly, just talking off the bat, yeah? I really feel that this was designed to not just earn money through, obviously now Pfizer has reached probably 18 billion in worth in stocks, just exploded. We know that the United Kingdom injected 1.8 billion into this in January. That we was just hearing about this in January this year over here in the UK, that this was a problem and was going to get out of hand. We knew by February it was out of hand. It already left China, Wuhan, and had travelled around the world. But you've got to understand, part of this, what I feel might be the truth. It could be millions of miles away, but I just don't believe in this thing's being a coincidence. But I think at the end of the day, this is all about a reset. Now, we're watching governments, first of all, by their policies, bankrupt thousands of businesses here in the UK. We know it's happening across Europe and United States, Canada, Australia, you name it. This is a global pandemic of bankruptcies as well as illness related to this disease. And there is a solution here. When you have bankrupted enough businesses in your company, in your country, you can declare total bankruptcy and collapse. And if other countries around the world are in the same situation, then you can ask, once you've met that criteria for debt recovery or debt forgiveness. I think debt forgiveness is what they're going to be sorting, and this will lead to the reset of the economy globally. So, everything at this point in time is by design, sadly. And, we have now witnessed governments around the world prepared to kill people in larger numbers to justify a reaction, just like 9/11 was justified for a war in Iraq. Remember what they said, what George Bush said on the foundations of the rubble of the Twin Towers? We know who's responsible for this. It's Osama bin Laden, and Iraq has been supporting Osama bin Laden, and we're going to go to war. Well, at the point of you seeing people having to jump out of burning buildings, it's going to create a reaction. And the solution at the time would have been, you want to hit back at somebody that has attacked your nation in such a barbaric way. And, this is what they do. They design it in this manner. Problem, reaction, solution. The Sandy Hook, again, attacking, the American Constitution with being allowed to arm yourselves with guns, things like that. These things are proposed in a manner where, at the time of the problem, which is the situation, which is very stark at the time, gets your reaction going, gets you angry. How dare people attack us, and how dare people go out like this, and how dare people, kill hundreds of people. Wouldn't it be a good idea if we did away with guns? This is what is the design. And basically all it ends up with, and we've seen this in the UK. I'm just going to skip over a little bit. I'm just going to say, what the UK government asked people to do was tell the police about those people that were having parties of more than 6 people or 15 people or 30 people. Wanted to break down our little communities by encouraging people to rat out on other people. They're winning the game, is all I can say is they're winning the game. They are definitely directing the course of the movement of human population. And today, I saw, on mainstream media, something very obvious. The glorification of the Pfizer vaccine. And I've got a big problem with this, and you should too. This has not been tested against reproduction times, and we know that it could never have been done so, because this vaccine was only out in January, according to most of the world. Europe, United States, Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom. It's only been out this year, from January. So there is no possible way they could have tested this against reproduction. Could you believe this? They could, with this very vaccine that hasn't been tested against the time of reproduction, sterilise the entire human race. And I kid you not that is plausible. It might not be the fact, but it is plausible. For the simple fact is that the male sperm carries the same proteins that this Pfizer vaccine targets. And it is clearly understood that we don't know why a male sperm carries thousands of packets of RNA. And this vaccine targets RNA, proteins. We could be opening the door to the greatest catastrophe humanity has ever seen. And you can glorify it as much as you want, but the fact still remains you haven't tested it against reproduction, human reproduction. And for that matter, I express major caution. I've said it many times, we are in a gauntlet And there are many obstacles in this gauntlet, and we are approaching something we can't do too much about. That's the magnetic pole reversal. But during that time, there are other obstacles on the course. COVID-19 is the example of the first one we have hit right now. And I said, because the speed we're travelling through the gauntlet, we are going to hit one, and we didn't know at the time it was going to be COVID-19, but we would hit it and then cascade into many others. And this is exactly what's going to happen. From here on out, we are going to cascade into many obstacles as, you know, the agenda, and we know that there's an agenda. You know, we know what Bill Gates' agenda is, and you know, the rest of the world's population knows exactly what's going on. I mean, if we look at the royal family, the Queen's husband, he said, and you can find this out for yourselves, he said, if reincarnation is really the case, I want to come back as a deadly virus. Look into it if you don't believe me. Those were his words. It is very well documented. So we know how these rich and elite people feel about us. You know, they can talk about climate and the causes of climate through carbon dioxide, and you know, at the same time they tell us to reduce our footprint of carbon dioxide, yet these rich people travel around in private jets, Air Force One. They're the biggest hypocrites on the planet, and we need to realise that. I will be honest, you know, the observatory is devastated with lack of funding, and it is sad that, you know, too little has been almost done too late. You know, we have a very small window now in order to keep doing what we do. Otherwise, you know, things have got to change. I've got to say that. It's sad that, you know, there has been things on the agenda for the observatory to progress further, but, you know, it has been hampered by lack of funding. And it's really hard to put your case across to, you know, people like yourselves that listen to this, you know, and try and express, you know, the need to support us. We can't even afford to fund a single person's wages, and yet, you know, you guys have at your disposal a scientist and somebody very talented who's been able to program electronics, design electronics, and build an observatory and get these, you know, magnetometers out to their locations around the world that we enjoy the feedback of. It's been nothing but a miracle that we have got this far. And despite me, you know, repeatedly asking for support, it is sadly falling on a lot of deaf shoulders. I've got to say that. We could be a lot better than a lot of these other organisations, and we have come into our prime more than once and come out with information that was important before these mainstream organisations did. So, you know, we have proved our ability more than once. We got some battles, guys, that we need to face ahead of these times. I just hope that, you know, a few people recognise what actually goes into what we do here and what we actually inform people on. You know, sometimes there's not a lot of evidence, but there is a lot of suspicion. And that's being honest. Sandy Hook, 9/11, COVID-19, at every crisis, there is always somebody making a fortune out of it. And right now, our governments are printing billions and billions of pounds off like it's nothing. Said it always. You know, we're a little bit more proactive than other channels on YouTube, and I don't put them down for what they do. You know, most of them, in any case, are researchers, just private individuals, you know, trying to link up some of the dots. And some of the times they're not always right, and I think you'll agree with me. And sometimes, you know, we make some theories that, you know, are not always right or, you know, untested. But, you know, we are still here today trying to do the right thing for the majority of our subscribers on YouTube and those that visit our website. You know, that's the bottom line. You know, we want to continue doing that, because now more than ever is a time to get behind us, if you hadn't realised. The links are down there if you want to help support what we do at the observatory. And it really needs to improve, otherwise we've got to take some drastic actions and just look after those that are in support of what we do. And I really don't want to do that. For 10 years, and you must know this, for 10 years I've kept this observatory privately funded by public funds. We have more than justification to approach organisations and even the government for some support. But I will guarantee you this: that day arrives, we also get told what we can release and what we can't, and you really do not benefit from that. So I applaud you to support what we do here and get behind us, step up to the line. It requires a brave step, I know. It isn't easy this time, but that's what it requires. It's down to you guys right now. You know, I'll say what I usually do. Bye for now.